cabin in the woods horror stories are some of my favorite, because you think about these remote locations where bad things can happen and there's nowhere to go for help. They're really creepy, especially when they're told by a narrator like Spooked. I just played the first few seconds of this to do a sound check, and when he just starts, the music cues in and his voice comes in, it's just, oh man, it sets the mood so good. Spooked, I really love the immersion, man. You guys go subscribe to Spooked. He is one of the most talented creators I know, as well as subscribe to me if you like reaction videos. And let's get into the story. Story 1.
It was a quiet night.
Oh God.
Me and my friends were staying at my uncle's cabin for the holidays.
Right on,
and we
man.
just brought back some late night grocery shopping to the others.
Rain.
I walked in and saw my friend Jonathan staring out of the window while Lewis sat on the couch.
That's a
Jonathan
cool cabin,
looked fascinated by something and was looking all around.
Alright.
Oh hey Mike, Lewis said. Yeah, John's been seeing things again. Seriously dude, I swear someone's running around out there, John said, prying his eyes back outside. This wasn't out of the ordinary.
Right.
John always thought he saw things, and he would get pretty paranoid.
Okay,
But this
always
time
at
it
the
felt
cabin?
different.
But just everywhere?
John wasn't paranoid, but just intrigued.
Right.
Well, could you at least help us get this stuff into the kitchen?
Okay.
I'm standing here with bags on my wrist like watches on a pin.
Come on, man.
I said, shrugging off John's weirdness. The others were getting the rest out of the car.
Right.
You know,
Something's up,
I
though.
swear I saw something out there, John added. If you saw something, it was probably a raccoon. Now, stop worrying about the boogeyman and help put
person.
this stuff in the refrigerator,
It was a person.
Tom replied, just before the sound of thundering footsteps. They came from around the house, past the living room window, and up the front door.
What?
We were all
Oh
shocked.
my.
Who would be out there at this time of night?
Right.
I went to the front door while they stayed packing the kitchen up.
Oh my
and
God,
opened it.
dude.
A pale man, possibly in his 30s, with ragged and muddy clothing, started pleading in broken English to let him in. I being followed. Please help.
Oh my
Then he tried
God.
to hand me money, but I declined and let him in.
What do you do?
As much as I'd like to, you can't leave someone outside like that.
Right.
Especially in the weather winter brought about.
But somebody's tailing
He
him.
explained, or at least tried to explain, his story to us. His name was Paulo. He was being followed. He had been hiding in the forest for weeks now, all the while being hunted. We didn't know what he did for him to be hunted,
What?
but to hide out in the wintry woods takes a lot of guts, or
Right.
a lot of pressure. Something this guy clearly had.
Seems like dark
He was
web type
dehydrated,
stuff, you know?
out of breath, and was extremely eager
so it
to
was
eat something
obvious.
other than berries,
Yeah.
to which he might have gotten sick from, explaining his paleness.
Wow.
We let him stay the night,
Can
but it
you
wouldn't seem he
imagine?
could stay at all, as around 2 o'clock, I woke up to the smoke entering the room through the window. Outside, in the pouring rain, the silhouette of a man stood, only visible from the darkness of a feeble fire smoking out.
Okay.
I don't know if he could see me,
The fire
but he
ambience is
approached
so
the
good,
house
man.
regardless. All the lights were already off, and everyone was still asleep. I crept downstairs to just double check the doors were all locked.
Right.
But when I got to the last step, I could hear the handles of the front door swivel and squeak. Someone was trying to get in. They tried the side, the front, even some of the windows, all the while whistling
followed him.
louder and louder as they realized everything was locked and tight. Eventually, they went away, storming down the muddy path, shining their light through the tree lines. I went back to bed, wanting myself to believe it was just a dream.
Right.
Maybe it was, because I woke up to Paulo gone. His bed was empty, and the front door left right open. Funny thing is, I'm not the only one who remembers. I'm still shaken about the whole thing. What if they got to Paulo? Where is Paulo now?
Right.
I haven't had the luxury to find
I
out.
wonder if Paulo
I don't know
feels
if I
safe.
will or not, but I know one thing. I'm never going back to that cabin without a gun.
God dang, dude, that is freaking crazy. Oh my God.
Me and my group of friends were wandering out into this forest that just sat behind our house.
Right.
Our neighborhood was peaceful, and nothing ever really happened, so it was just as fine as watching TV to go exploring
Sure.
in the woods.
Yeah, man.
My mom had just gotten off of work, and my dad was going to get some pizza for us in another town. So me and my friends were let off to go do whatever we wanted.
Sure.
We were 12 at the time, short, vulnerable, and naive. But these were things that really didn't put up a concern on anyone around.
No,
so
because...
even when dusk was setting in, we were still allowed to have some fun.
Right.
Anyway, as we were walking through the trees, minding the rocks and bumps in the landscape, we saw a cabin. It was very worn down, and its porch seemed to be crumbling on one side.
Okay.
The windows were cracked, the door open, and the grass around it hadn't been cut in years,
Like it was abandoned.
decades even. As we got closer,
Good
my
place
friend
to
Tom
squat.
shined his light onto the house. We didn't see it at first, but the roof on the farthest side had collapsed in, and the porch's one had only a few months before the rain would make it crumble.
Sure.
The house was old,
Very,
maybe a
very
bit too old to
dilapidated.
even be standing,
Right.
but we had never seen nor heard of it. So what would be the harm in checking it out?
Squatters.
It was getting dark, but after all, curiosity never killed the cat,
Can't
right?
do it, man.
The door creaked open and scratched itself on
Apollo
the plank
might be in
floor.
there.
We got stuck on the rug, but we managed to
Different
squeeze
story.
in. Looking around, we saw many things. Syringes, vials, bottles, old books, watches, stones, the lot. But what caught my eye was a particular stone.
Mhm.
When I shined my light on it, it gleamed and glittered in its cracks. I got closer, and from out of the cracks
Drugs?
came a weird pulsating golden light.
What?
I went to touch it, but then from outside the cabin, the crunching of leaves and a slight cough. Light shone through the windows and the doorway. Mike and I hid in the closet, and Tom stood in the door.
Rock? Wait, I'm confused.
The man got to the cabin and kicked the rug out of the way.
Right.
The door hit Tom, but he didn't move a muscle. The man stopped in the middle of the
Just hit
room. I thought about running out, but I couldn't move. It was like, in those moments, I couldn't breathe. None of
I
us
guess
could.
so, bruh. I guess so.
Tom started to shake, and he rattled the
12
floorboards.
years old, right?
The man turned around, grabbed Tom by the arm, and started to shout at him. "What do you think you're doing, huh?" He screamed. I leapt out of the closet and grabbed an old gun. Swinging at his head, he stumbled
Whoa.
back and hit the desk behind him.
Whoa.
We ran as fast as we could, never looking back,
Cool.
and we haven't since. I've got so many questions about what happened there, but I don't think I'll ever want to have them answered.
Grabbed an
It scares
old
me to death,
gun
looking into that forest.
and swung at
I'll
a
never forget why.
12-year-old. How brave, man. Wow, but he saved his friend.
Me and my friend were hiking several years
First
ago
one's still the
when
win
we
of the
were
video.
young men.
Right.
We were
hiking.
stupid and quite literally still teenagers. We stumbled upon a cabin out back in the woods. It was fairly beat up, with a few windows on broken or cracked, as well as moss growing up past the porch's roof. The door wasn't open, so Jake thought, hey, we should start throwing rocks at it. No
Okay.
way, dude. What if someone lives there? I
What?
replied. Oh, come on. No one lives here.
That's the
If
kind
they
of
did,
stuff we
they
did
probably
when
want
we
to
were
move
young too.
ASAP.
God
It looks
dang
like it's going to collapse any second now,
Right.
Jake said.
Throw some
He was
rocks at
right.
somebody's
No one
house.
knew about the cabin, and quite frankly, if anyone was living there, they'd probably have to be a ghost. So we started throwing rocks at the windows.
Do you really want to make those
We
mad,
pay each other
Judo?
$5 for every window we break, Mike
Whoa.
said. You're on, I replied. One of Mike's broke the upstairs window, and he posed for me to take a picture. But as I focused on my phone's camera, I saw something in the window
somebody?
he broke.
Mhm.
It was dark upstairs, but you could make out a few things as light came through another window in the same room. A dark silhouette of a man materialized with a gust of black smoke in the window. It stood there, staring down at us. It didn't move an inch. I was paralyzed.
Right.
Did you take the picture? What are you
Kinda.
staring at? Mike said.
That dude?
Shaking, I raised my arm up to point at the unworldly figure. Mike looked, and too was paralyzed. The silhouette snapped
Supernatural.
its head to face Mike and powered itself back into the room. We
Oh,
heard
no,
loud
it was a
thuds
real.
coming downstairs in the cabin.
Thought
and
it was
we
like a
sprinted
ghost,
back
but
home.
it's a guy?
I did take a picture, but me and Mike didn't show it around. The picture is somewhat worse. You can see too much. It haunts me, but I can never pick up the courage to delete it.
Wow. So, it wasn't a ghost. It was actually a person. Bruh, I still got the chills from the first story. I still can't believe it. This was so good though, Spooked. Guys, y'all make sure to subscribe to Spooked. And me if you like reaction videos. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.